Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to today's class. Welcome to today's class. Today's class is actually a pre-recorded class, and for some unforeseen reasons, I couldn't be present by the 8, so I just decided to do a pre-record class. I had something come up, so I'm gonna do the class. I'm gonna post it by that 8, and it's gonna be the same way. Like it's gonna be like the way it's supposed to be. As if it's a physical class or as if it's an online class, a live online class. So we are going to talk much about maybe just the interface quickly, then probably see how we could do a design for today. I'll also post it on Instagram, and I'll also be sharing the files, but I'll be sharing the files probably maybe later on in the link description below. So if you're watching it today, that's been uploaded, then the files might not be ready, but the files will be ready by the end of probably today or by early mornings tomorrow. So I do not want to waste your time. I'm going to give you a quick introduction of Adobe Illustrator. So there is a difference between pixels and vectors, or pixels and vectors. Now, when using Adobe Photoshop, you mainly make use of pixelated images or pixelated uh, output. Your outputs are more pixelated. So anything that you're doing there is like photo So it's pixel manipulation. It's the Photoshop is the pixel manipulation software, while Adobe Illustrator is a vector manipulation software. So if you want to um, export large images or large canvas or large outputs and you want them to be crisper, sharp, then you use Adobe Illustrator. But if you want to work on pixels, most times for manipulations, then Photoshop is your main guy. So why I use Adobe Illustrator, that is like a question. I think it's more on preference. It's more flexible for me. It's a little bit difficult compared to Photoshop, but it's more flexible when it comes to the things that you do, creating your own shadows, creating your own lights, and the whole thing like that. So it requires you to be very technical most times when you're creating a flyer in Illustrator than creating it in Photoshop. And for me, I don't think I actually enjoy using Illustrator than using Photoshop. From that's in my own case. But you might be a Photoshop guy and you might enjoy using Photoshop, and yeah, it's also good too. But for me, I will always prefer to use Adobe Illustrator. So let's go straight into the interface. So it's if you're using Photoshop, very similar to what you have in Illustrator here. At the top here, you have the menu bar, also present in Photoshop. So I'll not mention Photoshop again. I'll just give you the run through. So here is called the option bar or the option bar or the option panel, because I think you can also take it out. So it's the panel too. So the option panel is also there, and in case it's scattered or it's not in place, you could also come back and change it back to Essential Classic, or you go to Windows and you reset the workspace, set Essential Classic, so you have everything back. So we have the menu bar, we have the option panel, because you can move this, but you can move this. So you have the option panel, you have the tools panel here. You also have the properties panel and the library. If you want, you can take that out. You have extra properties right over here. That's close to the properties panel in this part. So I'm currently using Essential Classic. My workspace is currently Essential Classic. When you open Illustrator for the very first time, you have the Essentials activated, but you can switch it to Essential Classic to have an interface like this. The reason I'm using this is Essential Classic because it has extra functions which can be very useful to you when you're working on Adobe Illustrator. So as I said, this is your menu bar, this is your option panel, your properties, your extra properties, and your tools here are also found by the left hand side. Then here we have our workspace. This is where our workspace is, and if you want, you can also approach it, and we could bring it back to where it is. So very similar to Photoshop and stuff like that. So here is more of an extra tweak for zoom in and zoom outs, and having things like that. So I'll be showing you, probably I'm using some shortcuts that you might also find useful, like Control 0, which takes you to the exact size of your artboard. in that case. Yeah, so we have this image here. We also have I have a rectangle there. I will delete that so that I will draw it from the beginning. So your my color palettes have already been created. You could also create that from scratch. I have a video for that. I will also try and link that in the description today, yes. So yes, and I have my color palette set. Let's just see if we could just work on something as quick as possible. So now we have our image here. I would like to take it into Photoshop to edit it because it's pixelated, and pixel actually um pixel extraction will work much better. You could also do an extraction or cutting an image, but this is just time wasted. And if you have Photoshop, why we want to do that? So now we're in Adobe Photoshop. We would like to cut this part. I'm using 2024, so it has this extra bar here, and you could move there. If it gives you an error, don't mind, just try it again. Remove background, and it begins to work on it for you. So now the background is out, and I think it did actually a perfect job. We will come here to select and mask, so we can be able to take out the masking. We do not want. I don't actually like to work with the mask there. So the just new layer, ensure that the outputs are the new layer. So we have it up here. This is deactivated. Now we could click here or come to images, just some extra tweaks, adjustment, some highlights and shadows in case you want to bring those ones out. I don't want it to be too pronounced. You come to filters, you come to camera raw filters, and then I'll begin just add a little bit of clarity to it to make it a little bit sharp. Some clarity at this to make it sharp. The dehaze, not so much of it. Click OK, and you have that sharp. So we go back to filter, we go to filter gallery, and I'll be using the grain. So it's under textures, then grain. You could tweak the intensity of that, and OK. So we have this, and I'll be able to export it now as a PSD and use it in Adobe Illustrator. So export. Now, now we're back in Illustrator. If you're back in Illustrator and you want to bring this image that you got from Photoshop back into Illustrator because it's still the previous one we had, you go into Windows, you scroll down to links, and you click on links. You drag your links and you put it. Probably you could keep it here so you can be able to find it anytime. And you relink here. Once you relink, you have to select where you stored or where you saved your the image. Apologies, everybody. I lost the audio right over here, so I want to put you through the whole process in this talk. So what I did, I just relinked it back into Adobe Illustrator, and then I want to work on creating the background in this case. So what I place it by the side, then I will draw a rectangle first. Then when I've drawn the rectangle, I'm going to make a duplicate of that rectangle and place it at the middle of the main, that's the big rectangle. Now I place my image at the middle to just check if it actually goes with the color. So I like to use monochromatic colors because they give more contrast or good contrast. It's just the saturation and the brightness that you'll be playing with when using monochromatic colors compared to the other kind of colors on the color scheme. So I draw a smaller shape and I place it at the middle of it. And I ensure I choose the a brighter color of the shade of that shade. I drew it so it becomes a proper rectangle, and I'm going to apply an effect. In case you can't find effect, go to filters and then you see effects, or you go to effects, then you see your effects there. So I'm applying the roughen effect, and I'm going to increase the size and also the details in that case. I ensure that it's placed there. I duplicate the shape at the back of it, so Control C, Control F, and I select two of them and I press the blend tool, so Control Alt B to create a blend, and you could see that blend over there. Or you could go through the long part, you go to Objects, Blend, then Make Blend for that effect. So now all I just need to do is to tweak the colors of the main one. So when you double click on that blend you have created, it could isolate the layer. Then you could go inside and maybe tweak and add a little bit. So I'm going to be adding the twist, the tweak to this, and so it gave me this beautiful mixture. And I could increase the any of the tweak any of the details there, but just leave it like that. So I'll be playing more with the blend. So while it's selected, while the shape is selected. So in case you were wondering how to get out of the isolated layer, you could just click outside, either by the left or by the right or at the top or the bottom. Just click outside of that layer and you go out of the isolated layer. Then I want to apply the blend on that particular layer. Or I want to tweak the blend, so I go to the blend tool and I double click on the blend tool and I go to specified steps, and I could increase the specified steps to about 9 or 10 for me to get the desired output. So you could try it your own way and you get your own desired output. So without wasting your time, let's go back into it where the recording became normal. Now, so when you come here, I use the HSB in this case. In case you want to change the color of this, you use HSB. I use HSB most times. You want to change it, so most times yours will be in RGB instead of HSB. So once it's in RGB, you could change it to HSB from clicking here. So I like using the HSB because it helps me adjust the saturation and also the brightness. The reason, because when you are dealing with monochromatic approach when it comes to design, you have to play with the saturation and also the brightness of that color. That those are the main things when you are dealing with monochromatic colors. So you could either make it bright like this or you could make it more intense. So as I said, this is saturation, this is the hue, which is the main color itself. Saturation, they also have the brightness, and in that case, so we could increase this, not too much. I think that is okay. Yeah, so I think this is good. Then we could bring you here, bring it to the front in this case. Then we now um I was thinking before we could have a base, but I think there is no need for a base. We could just allow him to levitate while we try to play with other things. Yeah. So these things are just guides. In case they are disturbing you, you could take off the guides and save yourself the stress. So in that case, you could take out the guides, um, put it there. So like so, put it here. So take off the guides in case. I have just named that as guides, and okay, so good. We'll hide that, and that's your layer panel in case you wonder what that. So now we have this. It's levitating. We have the guide levitating. So we can begin to add our extras to make it come out very well. I think we could come here and maybe just draw something at the top. And now, so I'm going to show you how I used to create those lighting kind of things. So in this case, in this case, I was thinking we have a stroke, like a very good one here, and then go back here and adjust it to be to bright. I think we should leave it on top and something like that. Then we also have just increase the size maybe to about 15. Now what I used to do most times to create those bright things is I duplicated Control C, Control F. I go to effect, I go to blur and gosh of blur and ensure it's 30. Okay. And you could change the blend mode to screen. Then now I do Control C, Control F, Control C, Control F. So just duplicate it as much as you want it to be bright. So I have this, I could deselect them and then group them and place them at the middle, ensure that placed at the middle. So this is also placed at the middle. But I feel yeah, so I've not done design before, so I'm just trying to see if I could get ideas. So please just patient with me while I think of possible ways to attach some other things to this. I don't want to do one. Probably I just have a design already. Then I'm trying to replicate it, and I'm just showing you how I replicated it. But I just want you to probably see how I do try and errors, and how I came about what I actually have. We could, in this case, maybe have a shadow of him, just two legs. I think stretching in that way. So we can use our curvature tool. We could trace around like so. Now the reason why I'm doing this is so that the shadows will match the the shape of the trousers is actually putting on. So we'll have that. Remove the strokes and then make it black. Just strokes there. We have that. Then we could also have this. So like that. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just shadows and then in that case. That's create the two of them, group them. We could reverse it. So what we want to do is bring it down like this. Make sure it's placed under his feet. Zoom out. You could stretch it if you want, but I think there's no need for me to stretch like that. Then we also reduce the opacity, or we make it multiply. I think multiply should work. Yep. So just multiply, then reduce the opacity in such case. Yep. So in that case, I think we're good with our shadows here or something like that. So we could have there should be more of a focus on his face. So let's try with some lights behind his head. Let's make a circle here. We could use the color we have here. Just pick that. I think I'll add that to my swatch. Add like that. Okay, so it's added here, over here. And then we have this, move the stroke, and then put the color that we have there. So we have this as the inner one, Ctrl C, Ctrl F. I could bring that bottom and then change the blending mode back to normal. While here, the blending mode for you could also still be normal, but we would like to make you brighter. So bring that down. Or instead, we take this out, come here, click on this, This is for the gradients. In case you can't find it, Windows, and then we could look for effects. Look for gradient. Sorry. So this is gradient there. Put it as radar, and for this we can use that color that we have from our swatch. We could also come here, break that color or adjust it to be more bright. In case HSB, yep, right there. Like so. So now what we do is come to this place, change the opacity to 0, and you could have this blur thing there. In case you want it to be inside, you could also do something like that. And just get this one to the back there. It's okay, good. So okay, like this, and place it at the center. Yep. So that's how we create our own shiny. And in Photoshop, it's much easier when you are doing this. And so you could click on the letter G, and you have your gradient to come up. So we have something like this, and I think this is nice. So what I just want to add is just add maybe a necklace, but it's going to be shiny. So like a shiny necklace. I think. like so. Remove the fill, put the gradient, the stroke, increase the stroke, zoom in, and you could also do like that. Yeah, so click on that, and also Ctrl C, Ctrl F, change the blend to screen, and then go to blur, Gaussian blur, and we have that. So now, because of we selected this point, this is the last point, so it's adding every of the effects we are adding on here and not on the complete um, line we drew. So we could delete that part and ensure everything is selected. Ctrl C, Ctrl F, come back here, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, change it to screen. Do some application. Ctrl C, Ctrl F, Ctrl C, Ctrl F, and in case it's not too bright, bring it inside. So there's a problem. So what I will recommend you do is you adjust this place and maybe just take it a little bit up so it goes outside of the main frame. So I think that that's not the main image here. So this is the main one here. Control, that's just A for direct selection tool. Is A for direct selection tool. So you can take it out there. The reason we have, I'll show you why we're doing that. So take it out a little bit and then zoom out, not too much. Then ensure we select it like this. Come to object, come to expand, and then it's expanded. So now we're going to use our eraser tool to erase this part. Now you can't do that, and you can't do that smoothly in when it's a stroke. You can do that when it's a fill. So in this case, we could erase it like so, and we zoom out. And I think we have that. So good. So now we have this. We could take maybe drop this a little bit, not too white, like that. So Control C, Control F, come change it to screen. Effect, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, Control C, Control F, Control C, Control F. So so how I get my text is probably I just have a word in my head. So what I have here is just called porthouse. That's in my head. So what I have in my head is porthouse. Is so what I most times would do is I would just have like a word or a text. Then I go to Gemini or I go to any content or AI content. So you could ChatGPT or you could use anyone. So once I just come here, all I just do is write a poem on the word porthouse. I think that's the porthouse. I think it's supposed to be a P, an R, sorry. Porthouse with a passage. I think there's supposed to be an R there. Porthouse with a passage from the Bible. So it gives me that passage, and I say okay. So send it. So I think my usage for Gemini is like so I go to ChatGPT. Yeah, so I go to ChatGPT and I just impute the same there and just send it. Now, so this is the context, and you could see that it's been lifted from Psalms 24, verse 7. And all we just need to do is come right here and just maybe take the header. So I prefer to put it here. add code text and paste it there. Change the fonts to Aurelie or something like that. Porthouse, make it extra bold. And then bring it by this side here. Go white. And that's, if we duplicate that, then we just have maybe a passage, which is saying lift up your eyes and something in the comment. Control, yep, reduce the size to about 24. Paste it there. Add that. Control, we could also reduce that to about 18. Gates, doors shall come in. And then bring that up, bring this down, change it to Clash text, and then also reduce the font size to about 12. Change it to medium or regular instead. And then we could take our poems from here. Put there and paste. So we have that as our poem. And then in such cases, in case it's too small, we could make it 14. No, it's too big. Okay, I think 14 is okay. 14 is okay. And just click that, and then bring it closer. So in that case, we could also maybe make it, I think it's white, make it behind, like that. We reduce the opacity to about maybe 30, so it doesn't fight for attention in that case. And we could have maybe just an extra cartoon like, something like that. So do that. You have this. The back one could be this color. The front one could be, no, sorry, I think the back one should be that color. Like this, and then so we have that. Like so. Yeah. So this is what we have right here. This is what we have right over here. And then we've come to the end of today's class. We will try and have one next week. I'm also composing or bringing together a class, a 1 week class, just to put you through. We are going to review most of the designs, or the most liked designs on Instagram, and try to recreate them. Then I'll show you the techniques that I used for those designs. So in case you have questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will go through them, I will answer those questions, and I will get back to you as soon as possible on them. And if possible, you want to chat me up probably on WhatsApp or also on Telegram, you could also send me a message in the comment section. I will get across to you, or I will also drop my contact in the comment section, so in case you can link up to me, or also send me a message and hi, that we could also communicate from there. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Please don't forget to reach out to me, and as we also have it, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.